Hi, Mark Anthony here with The Whole Message, where we are starting a whole new series this week. This is a 12-part series, and it's called Baby Steps to an Amazingly Healthier You. And every week we're going to go through a different step, a different strategy on how to transform your life into a healthier life, how to transform your kitchens into making them more successful for you. I mean, the list goes on and on. You're going to get some really cool stuff out of this. I know, I'm still trying to fit into my pants, 36-inch waist. I've had these pants for 30 years. If you've been watching my programs, you know all about them. And so I've got, hopefully within the next 6 weeks, I'm going to fit into those. If not, we'll go for another 6 weeks and try it again. Anyway, amazing healthier you right here. These are baby steps. This is the chart. This is the chart I want you to have. You can order this off the website or phone in orders. You can mail by mail. We'll have that information for you. And this chart, you'll see my chart. Here's my chart. In case you haven't seen, I got a massive chart that I've been working on. And this chart here, I like it on paper because it's a really in-your-face type of chart. You want something on paper, something that's big, so that it will really be an impact. You want something that is going to be there and not get hidden in a drawer or hidden in a file on a computer or something like that. So these work really good. And let me share with you here real quick what I've got. AM prayer, which is what we're talking about today. Workouts, big breakfast, water, all vegan. There's some actual things you want to do on the chart every single day. You're going to track what you've been doing. And this is all about trends. This is all about tracking trends. And the first thing every morning is AM prayer. And I've had a lot of people telling me, you don't need to do prayer when you're talking about a health message. And but I have that as the very first thing that we need to do. And it's the first chapter of my new book, AM Prayer, because we want God to be the core of everything we do. And if you don't know my story, if you don't know my testimony by now, I used to own a casino in Las Vegas. And I started doing a lot of Bible studies, started going to a lot of different churches. I went to over 200 different churches and learned a lot. I mean, really learned a lot. But my life really did not change until I started my prayer time. And I started on my knees for 15 minutes every single morning. Now let me tell you, 15 minutes a day on your knees, that is 1% of your day. And if you will just start spending 1% of your day with Christ, He'll change your life. That's just 1%, 15 minutes a day. Imagine if you would do 2% or 4% of your day. And let me tell you, it doesn't happen in a day or a week or a month. It's consistency, day after day after day, every single day, consistently spending time on my knees, year after year after year. And it just got to the point where I had no desires whatsoever to do anything but focus on Christ. And that's what I do. That's just the way I live, and I've been living that way for years and years and years now, every single day on my knees. And there is something so significant to it. And when it comes to the health message, if you want to get physically healthy, start spending time on your knees every single morning. Ask God to come into your life and help direct you in the direction you need to be going. Pray for discernment. I talk about this more than anything. Discernment. That is your most powerful prayer, is to pray for discernment. That's where you get godly wisdom, godly knowledge. That's what helps guide you in everything you do in life. You have to have godly discernment. And when you start taking your prayer time every single morning, let me tell you, it is going to flow throughout everything you do in life. It is so amazing. And so that's our first step in our baby steps. Prayer time every single morning. If you can start with 5 minutes every morning, I'll take it. Get up to 10 minutes. Get up to 15 minutes. If you can do an hour, great. But the reason I've got these charts here is because I want you to write down, okay, I did 5 minutes that day, I did 10 minutes that day, I did 10 minutes on Saturday, I did another 5 minutes on Sunday. You can go through and just, then, after a few weeks, you start looking at this, and all of a sudden it's like, man, I had X here, I did no prayer time in the morning that day, no prayer time, and 4 out of the 7 days I had no prayer time, and man, that was a rough week. You know, you will see trends, and as you consistently get your prayer time consistent every single day, you're going to find out what a value that you're going to have in our Lord and Savior. I mean, the value, it's priceless, okay? It is absolutely priceless. And let me share with you one thing here real quick. There's 2 things that you really need. Prayer time and study time. We pray to have a closer relationship with the Lord. We study to learn more about God. So are you seeing the differences here? You know, your study time, your theology time, your Bible reading time, that's to learn more about God. Your prayer time is to become closer to God. And those are the 2 factors. And you get both of those. When you get both of those, there's a lot of people that pray all the time. You know, great. But they don't do much on the study and the theology and the Bible reading. Then there's other people, they read the Bible all the time. They know the Bible inside and out, but they're horrible at their prayer time. And I'm telling you what, when you get both of those, when you get your prayer time and your study time, oh, what an amazing level of closeness and knowledge that you will be able to develop with the Lord. And that's what I'm talking about. I want you to be healthier physically, mentally, spiritually, in every way, shape, and form. And when you start with that prayer time, you start with that Bible reading, study time, everything else in your life will fall into place. And let me tell you, I'm a living testimony of this. You know, and it takes a little time. You know, you got to be patient with the Lord. Can you know how patient He is with us? And actually, you're not being patient with the Lord. You're being patient with yourself, you know, in all reality. But this is what I'm talking about. Give it a little patience. Give it time. Be consistent. And God will do amazing things in your life. So we've got some cooking to do. We've got some segments. We've got some crazy, fun, exciting stuff in our program today. And so I better get to it because we don't have a lot of time in these 1-hour programs. And we will see you later on in the program. Hey, Mark Anthony here, and I'm doing something really crazy today. This is one of those off-the-wall recipes. I just had it in my head, and I had to come up with it. And I'm actually making vegan baked deviled eggs. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And I've tried some other elements, and that just did not quite produce the way I wanted them to, so I went with the potatoes. Now what I did with these potatoes here that I'm peeling is I boiled them off, and you want to get that size that kind of looks like an egg shape. Get those little ones. And so I boiled them off, and I didn't overboil them. I just made them so that you could stick a knife through them. And when you're peeling these, you got to be aware that sometimes this will all catch up here, so you got to kind of put that through there. Yeah, so I boiled these potatoes off. And then I let them air dry. Well, actually, I put them overnight, but you have to air dry them overnight, and that way they tighten up. And you all know about my potatoes, the way I do potatoes. Boil them off, let them air dry, they tighten up, and they're perfect for potato salads or anything. So, and then I'm just going to basically shape it. You can see how I'm just shaping this into the shape of an egg. And you can make them smaller or bigger, whatever shape you want. It's going to just be that egg shape. And you can curve the sides, and you can really be an artist here. So if you don't have exactly the right size potatoes, you can really shape them the way you want. This, I guess, would be my my dodo bird egg or something like that. Then when you have them done up, we're going to cut these in half and just cut all 3 of these in half here. I'll show you how to do them. I've already got some done here, but I wanted to show you how to do these. And then we're going to pop out the middle just like that, so it actually looks like an egg. And if you don't have one of these, which is really a melon baller, you can always use something like this, but these don't have quite the thin edge like one of these does. So, and you just very carefully make yourself a little egg spot. I don't know how these big ones are going to turn out, but I guess we could do a double yolk maybe. I could do a double yolk here or something. But just like that, you're just going to pop these out and make yourself your little egg spots. And I think you already see the vision of these deviled eggs. And we're going to put these all on the pan here. And I always do extras because a lot of times they'll break, so which is fine. And so I always make a few extras. And of course this right here is going to end up being hash browns. That's going to be bagged up, and I am going to use that for hash browns for breakfast. And so I don't throw anything away. Nope, we save everything. Now right here, we're going to make our yolks. And for the yolks, I'm doing chickpeas, garbanzo beans. I'm basically going to be making a little hummus here. But for my hummus, I am going to add some oil to it because the oil really makes it so it doesn't crack. You can use water, and I probably will use quite a bit of water here. And then I've got a couple more ingredients for you. I've got some lemon juice, and we're going to add some Dijon mustard. So that's about it. Of course, I do have to share with you my secret ingredient, which is black salt. Now, if you have not used black salt before, it's K-A-L-A-N-A-M-A-K, Kala Namak. It's called black salt. It's from India. And this literally smells and tastes exactly like eggs. I mean, exactly. So we're going to put about a tablespoon of this in here. And hopefully it won't be too salty. I'm sure it won't. It's very mild flavor, not as strong on the salt side. And we're going to get this baby processing, and I'll probably add some water to it just to make sure it, you want to make sure that this is thick enough to go through my bag, but not too thick. It's got to, not too thin, so it's got to be just right. We'll get this going and then we'll come back on it. All right, now I really let this baby blend because I want this to really be a smooth flavor. Now I'm going to put this right in my little makeshift bag here, which I like doing these because I can just throw the bag away when I'm done. And we're going to get a few scoops in here. You can see where I just cut a hole in it and then put this, and hopefully this will work. Sometimes these bags break and they can be a real mess. And I'll give you the logistics of it here, and of course whatever's left we're going to use that too. And it does, it tastes exactly like eggs. It's amazing. You can put a little bit of egg shade in there, would work really good. Or some, there's some other things you could put in there. But this works for me. And then we are just going to very carefully, just like this, fill every one of these like that. Okay, just like that. Boom. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And so we've got that. One other thing you can do is if you want, you can sprinkle it with some paprika. You know how some of the eggs you'll see have paprika on there, so that looks pretty good, doesn't it? And give it a little more visual appeal. So paprika works, and boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to spray this with a little bit of, well, this is a little too sharp. Little too sharp. But I want to get, this thing really pops out there. I want to hit these yolks right here. So let me get this done. And we're going to put some yolks. This thing is a really big sprayer though. Interesting. And I'm just going to rub this in right here a little bit. Yeah, I didn't want that much, but that's what happens sometimes in the kitchen. So I just want to get this kind of rubbed in here a little bit, just for one particular reason, because I want to take some of this salt that I'm using and sprinkle it on those areas. So you can kind of go like this. And that'll really give it a blasting of that egg flavor when people bite into it. Okay, so just like that. And the oil, all it does is help stick a little bit to it. So if you get that good spray, watch, this thing is just, woo! I mean, that's just a shot. So interesting. That's what happens when you get new products. And if you want to sprinkle them a little bit. Now most eggs too are, when you call deviled eggs, they're spicy. That's the thing about deviled. Anything deviled is usually spicy. Diablo, it's always going to be a spicy element. But so you can always add pepper, red pepper, anything to this as far as that goes. All right, so this is going to go in the oven. I've got it set at 375 degrees for probably just 15, 20 minutes. I just want to crank this up. I don't want to change the color too much. I don't want these things browning into a crispy oblivion, but we do want to get some cooking on it and get them crisped up a little bit. So we'll put these in the oven and we'll come back in about 15, 20 minutes. Okay. I did have them in there for about 30 minutes because they just needed a little more crisping. And you'll notice they're still white. That's what you want. You don't want them turning brown by overcooking them. And 375 is a hot temperature, but they turned out just perfect. And you can see, even if I push the tops, the whole piece is together. I mean, this is just nice and crisp on the top, and so that's the way it goes. And we'll see if I can get these babies plated up here, just like this. You can have fun. Maybe you got one of those tables or those plates that you can put eggs on with the little circles, that type of thing. But however you want to do it, you can make these look really fun. And I'll put my weird ones in the middle here. How's that? Just like that. Okay. And I think I'll just get the rest of these plated up here. So, just a little recap for you. All you have to do is take your potatoes, boil them, and after they're boiled, go ahead and let them air dry and cool. And then after they're cool, then you'll go and peel them to the shape of the eggs, cut them in half, and then just fill them with a hummus. And I used a higher oil. I made my hummus a little different, put some mustard in there. So that one broke, so that's what'll happen once in a while. So okay, just like that, and you've got vegan baked deviled eggs. So just an amazing, amazing item that people are just going to be blown away. They're going to see this, they're going to be like, you got to be kidding me. And this is what I do. I love doing crazy stuff that just blows people away. And this is one of those ones that you make this, they're going to love it. So share these and go to my website, chefmarkanthony.com. We have the actual recipes, so you got exact recipes if you want them. And we'll see you next time on The Whole Message. All right, welcome back. And wasn't that a fun recipe? I'm telling you, that one just came in my head. I said, I've got to do some deviled eggs. And I figured, well, what an interesting way to do it with potatoes. And by the way, those new potatoes, if you can find the new potatoes in the can, those work great, but you got to get the bigger size. And a lot of times you can't find the bigger sizes in the grocery store. So I'm going to be searching for some of those and do another episode with that. But they taste fabulous. Absolutely taste just like a deviled egg. They look like it, and you will have so much fun with that recipe. And then save all your little scraps too, because the peelings, I actually use those for hash browns and things like that. So anyway, today we're talking about prayer and the power of prayer. And of course, you saw my charts that I use all the time, and we've got to make sure that we have a consistent prayer time, because a lot of people just don't think that that's a health-related thing, but it really is in so many different ways. And so I'm going to share with you a couple things on the internet here. Of course, Wikipedia, we've got this right here. It says the largest and most significantly rigorous study of prayer efficiency, 2006 STEP project, found no significant difference whether subjects were prayed for or not, except some negative effects among those who knew they were receiving prayer. And so this is kind of interesting that they're telling us that your prayers have no significance whatsoever when it comes to health, and in fact, it's actually damaging to the people that you are praying for. And this is just an absolute ridiculous, idiotic type of mentality that's out there. You'll find this when it comes to science. Science does not want to recognize God. And so they will continually try to deny the fact that prayer has power. And because if there is a God, and there is, it really ruins a lot of the scientific theory. Everything from evolution, and the list goes on and on. So you really don't find the two mixing. It's like water and oil just don't mix. Even though God is the ultimate of scientists, He is the creator of all things. So anyway, that's the trouble with that. But let's go to some little more intelligent conversation here. This is the health site, kind of an interesting site. 10 ways that praying actually benefits your health. And I wanted to share this with you here. Oh, here's another one of these baiting things. We talked about that last time with the banana. Now this baiting actually says 4 fruits and vegetables never eat, but it's actually got broccoli on this one. So never eat broccoli, because that's one of those foods you should never eat. And people get curious and they click over to it and get locked into this thing. And so stay away from those baitings. But here, 10 reasons, 10 ways praying actually helps benefit your health. Number 1, makes you stress-free. Of course, this has some natural remedy things here, talking about natural remedies, gallery, and so it makes you stress-free. Number 2, reduces your chance of suffering from depression and anxiety. Number 3, helps you deal with emotional onslaught. And of course, I like every one of those. Number 4, keeps away common stress-related disorders. This is a really kind of important one, because you're talking about heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, ulcers, migraines, and the list goes on and on. And there are some studies about that. So number 5, makes you happy. Amen. Prayer does make you happy. You'll feel so much better about yourself. Number 6, makes you a better person. Well, I would have to agree with that. People that pray can really help resolve internal problems, issues, and problems, things like that. So number 7, speeds up post-surgery recovery, which is kind of interesting. If the last thing said that it has nothing to do with it, keeps diseases at bay, which is really good. Number 9 is good for your heart. So they did a little stretch trying to get all 10 here, but they got them. And number 10, helps you live longer. Prayer helps you live longer. So as you can see, there are a lot of things in that particular website that show you how powerful prayer is. And of course, I'm living proof of it. I just know. And that's why I've got that chart, trying to get people to do consistency in prayer, because it is that valuable. It is that wonderful of a thing to have that prayer and time in your life. And the more you do it, the more you'll realize that. And that's the bottom line. People that pray all the time know what power there is. So we need consistency. This is Psych Central website. And interestingly enough, it's amazing how they try to flip it as a psychology thing. It's psychology. It's not, and now they can kind of make it into a science if they flip it into a psychology rather than a power of God. So, but I wanted to share this with you. Among the research this lady cited is one study of approximately 126,000 people that found that the people who frequently attend services increase their odds of living by 29%. Woo! Another study conducted by the National Institute for Health Care Research, Canadian College, visited doctors during time of difficulties. Other students, the students who had strong religious correlations also had higher positive feelings, lower levels of depression, and were better equipped at handling stress. So that was with the students here. And then I come down here to Dr. Lee's point about this Harold Koenig, MD. And he's got a book here, Handbook of Religion and Health. And so I did a little bit of studies on this, and this is pretty amazing. So I'm going to go one page farther here because I've got the same information up here. This is the guy right here, Harold Koenig, and he's an MD, Duke University, and somebody did an interview with him here. How do you come to the studies? What are the health benefits? They run across the board. This is what he's saying. They run across the board. Religious involvement, particularly if there is a strong spiritual component, is associated with less depression, anxiety, greater well-being, less drug and alcohol abuse, and the list goes on and on and on. And on the end here it says they also confer a longevity benefit, an extra 7 years of life among whites and 14 years among African Americans. And so of course I have to do more homework. And so I'm going to WebMD right here. When we come back, we're going to go to WebMD here. I love it when I can get detailed facts. So let's check out a couple more cooking clips, and then we'll come back and show you exactly what this doctor has to say on the WebMD website here. So enjoy these clips, and we'll see you in just a bit. Hi, Mark Anthony here to show you the easy way to do spaghetti squash. And I love spaghetti squash any time of the year. All we're going to do is give this some stabs. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. And just going to give it a couple stabs like this. Give it a little breathing room in case it swells a little bit. That easy. This is going to go in the oven for about 2 hours at 325 degrees. And this is a smaller one, so I'll keep a good eye on it, but it should be about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, and then we'll come back and finish it up. So that easy. Here we go in the oven, and we'll see you in about 2.5 hours. Okay, we're back, and it's been just about 2 hours, and it's been in the oven there for about 2 hours at 325 degrees, and there we go. There is our spaghetti squash. And let me tell you, it is just so easy to do. It's just so easy to do. Now, there are some tricks to cutting this because sometimes it can be pretty hot. I'm going to try to get a little angle cut on here and hopefully get right through it. Woo! And there we go, just like that. One thing I'm going to do here real quick is I'll get my gloves on here just because your gloves are going to give you just a little bit of protection when it comes to spaghetti squash. And I'll get 2 containers here. One we're going to just get the seeds out of here. And you got to be real careful because all you want to do is pull out the seeds. You don't want to pull out the rest of the spaghetti squash. So just kind of the membrane and the seeds. And then we're going to come over to this one and just scrape it out as good as you can. Woo! And let me tell you, this is getting extremely hot on my fingers. And I think you'll be able to figure that one out, aren't you? Okay, but look at that. Pretty good job, huh, getting all that out of there. And we're going to take the next one. And it is so hot. And if it is really hot, you can always just take a clean towel and just put it right up on a towel like this. And we're just going to get the seeds out first. A little bit of that membrane area. And once the seeds are out, then you can take the rest, just like this. Ah, nice when you can get a handle. And it is just so hot, a little tough to handle, but you can see how easy it comes out. It's just like, what an easy way to cook something. Okay, we got that going, so we got that taken care of, and then right here, let me show you what we can do here. We can take the spaghetti squash, add a few ingredients. The easiest thing you can do is just get a little bit of a salt, and then some earth balance works really good. There's a lot of vegan butters out there, but I do like earth balance. So just that easy, and we'll just give this a nice little toss here. And that's really all you need to have on here. You don't need to add one single other thing. There's a lot of people out there that overspice things. They overdo it. They add this and this and this. And let me tell you, you don't need to do all that. There are some good items like the salt-free garlic and herb. So we can add some of that. If you want to get some color, you can add parsley and things like that. This right here is Butler's chicken style seasoning. If you haven't used this, this is really good. It actually kind of gives it a little creamy flavoring even. But that's a really good one. I don't work for the company, but let me tell you, it's a good one. So we'll give this a nice little spin here. And just that easy, you've got your spaghetti squash. Woo! Okay. Yeah, just give it a nice little, you kind of fold it. You don't want to mash it. You don't want to whip it. You're just kind of folding it. And, but I'll tell you, look at the prep time. My prep time was definitely no more than 5 minutes on this. And just like that, you've got a spaghetti squash for even 4 to 6 people here, quite a few portions on it. And who would have thought it was that easy to do? Spaghetti squash in just a couple minutes. Keep your spices simple. The more complications you put on spices, the more complaints you get. So I've always took that mentality to keep it simple, healthy, and acceptable to the palate of everybody. We'll show you more extreme ways to cook things in the future, but for this particular one, that's the easiest, simplest way to do it. So, Mark Anthony, thanking you for tuning in. Keep watching those videos, and we'll see you next time. All right, we're back. More fun recipes for you today. That's all I'm doing is just some fun recipes. In some shows coming up, we're actually going to do meat substitutes, cheese substitutes, things like that, more details. But for these couple programs, I've just got some fun recipes that'll really good tasting too. So, all right, we're back here. We're talking about prayer and the power of prayer. And I wanted to share with you this WebMD website, because this here is also talking about medical doctor Harold Koenig, Duke University, and talking about how important prayer is. Now, he actually studied, check this out, he actually studied 12,000 studies, not just 12,000 people, 12,000 different studies around the world on prayer, and because they spend actually about $1.5 million a year, which is just absolutely nothing in the medical field, but $1.5 million a year just studying the effects of prayer on healing and health. And so if there's no correlation, why do they keep on studying it the way they do, right? Exactly. So these studies show that religious people tend to live healthier lives. They're less likely to smoke, drink, or to drink and drive. In fact, people who pray tend to get sick less often, as separate studies conducted at Duke, Dartmouth, and Yale University show. Here are some of the statistical facts from these studies. Okay, hospitalized people who never attend church have an average stay of 3 times longer than people who regularly attend. Woo! Love it. Okay, number 2 here. Heart patients were 14 times more likely to die following surgery if they did not practice in a religion. 14 times. Number 3 here. Elderly people who never or rarely attend church had a stroke rate double that of who attend regularly. And this is out of 126,000 people and our studies, tens of thousands of people. And then number 4, in Israel, religious people had a 40% lower death rate from cardiovascular disease and cancer. I'm telling you, and they will try to justify this in every way, shape, and form, saying, it's because of their health, it's because of this, it's because of that. There is power in the prayer, and it is just that way. But of course, and this is on WebMD, so this is and so they're finding out. People, I love it when people just put the information out there and try not to discredit it, and just report. If you're going to be a reporter, just report, okay? There's too many reporters out there that are basically attack dogs. Both sides of political parties just want to attack. Hey, let's send in this reporter to attack and discredit this person instead of just listening to what he has to say. And it happens on both sides of the fence that way. And that's one of the problems with politics, and one of the problems with the media today is that they don't sit down and reason together. Come, let us reason together. Let's take the time to look at all the issues and really find out what the truth really is. And if they would do that, they'd be a lot more successful. But God knew all this would happen, so I'm not worried about it. Amen. All right. Hey, let's go to one more cooking clip here. I've got time, and then I'm going to come back and do an overview about this whole situation when it comes to prayer and the way we need to be consistent about it. Hi, Mark Anthony here. We're doing a little plate presentation today, something really fun and different and crazy. And I've got my gloves on because I'm using my fingers here a little bit. Right here I've got some carrots that I cooked about halfway, boiled them off about halfway, and then cut them up with the design that I needed. And then I'm just browning them on the outsides. I've got a skewer here for my kebab, and then I've got some asparagus. Now the asparagus, I actually blanched it off just for a couple minutes, then flashed it in cold water, and that's what helps maintain a bright, vibrant color. So you've got a really pretty asparagus there. And then over here, I've got some of those fingerling potatoes, and these are really cool. I've cut some of the bigger ones in half. There's some purple insides here and pink, different colors inside the potatoes, and so I thought that would be a nice looking part of my presentation. And then what I've got here is a hot pan. This is what you use for fajitas and things like that. So that's what we're going to be using today. But first I want to get my skewer set up here, if I can do this right, because I need this baby ready to go. And look at that, just like that. You want to make sure that it's going to be stable right from the get-go. And hopefully that's tight enough. And so, okay, here we go. Because you got to do this pretty quick. And you cannot touch this pan. It is so hot, it will hurt you. And then this is going to go right there. We're going to add some of the asparagus. is basically representing a grassy type of exterior here. And basically we are doing an elevated skewer. So just like that. And of course we can always cut these up if we want. But I'm gonna start putting the potatoes in here, which would be representing the coals. I know I do better with my fingers. I really do. That's why I wear the gloves. And I'll tell you what, back in the kitchens, you'll get a lot of people using gloves because that's what works. So, okay. And boy, let me tell you, this baby is really, really hot. I don't know how much hotter I could handle. Don't try this at home, kids. This is one for the professionals. This is one that we do in gourmet restaurants. I've done this in so many gourmet places just as a wow factor. And there you go. You've got your skewer that's actually cooking over your hot bed of coals. And if you want, you can always put a few little things on the side here. And you can see how these are kind of crispy, but they're not overcooked. Now, here's the trick. This baby is so hot, but we want to give it a wow factor. And we've used dry ice, things like that. But the best thing to do to get this baby smoking is go right like this and get some of that oil down in the bottom of the pan. And that's the way it would be served to the table, right like that. So it's a fun, easy, hey, that's cool. And people get this on their plate, sizzling, still smoking, but you gotta have that plate super hot, and that's the way you would actually serve it. So Mark Anthony just showing you some fun, cool presentations, something different in the kitchen. So enjoy this one, and we'll see you next time in the kitchen. All right, we're back, and I wanted to share with you, I do more homework. You know, that's one thing I like to do, is do my homework. And we went through the part over here with Duke University and WebMD, and now I've got another one, University of Maryland Medical Center. And this one has a whole sheet. You might want to look at that, University of Maryland Medical Center. And they've got a spirituality, an overview. What is spirituality? Spirituality influencing the health. In fact, right here, there's a part of this. It says an example of a religion that promotes a healthy lifestyle is Seventh-day Adventist. Those who follow this religion, a particularly healthy population, are instructed by their church not to consume alcohol, eat pork, or smoke tobacco. In a 10-year study of Seventh-day Adventists in the Netherlands, researchers found that Adventist men live 8.9 years longer, average women live 3.6 years longer. And for both men and women, the chance of dying from cancer or heart disease was 60 to 60% less than the national average. And granted, you got to understand something. This was actually just a fraction of the people. And there is a big population of Adventists that still consume meat and cheese and animal products and still smoke. And so, you know, for the people that actually, if they would have taken an entire graph of only the people that don't eat animal products, alcohol, or smoke, the numbers would be even higher. So, but pretty amazing there. And of course, they get into hope and faith and forgiveness, and how each one of these categories really is an aid to a healthier lifestyle. When you have faith, you're going to live a healthier life. When you have hope, you're going to live a healthier life. When you forgive people, you don't know what a relief that does to your body. It just absolutely relieves your body when you forgive people. Love and social support. When you have love and you have social connections, it's a huge impact. And then prayer. The act of putting oneself in the presence of a higher power. There's a few little things here, but just kind of the basics that we all know about. So anyway, now one thing I wanted to share with you too was the fact that some of these, I'll share this last one with you, the Stress Institute. And what the Stress Institute does here is it talks about breathing and quiet meditation and mini times and imageries and beads, prayer beads and journaling. And so some of this is getting into that Hindu Muslim mentality of meditation. And the science field is going to accept meditation as the healing power rather than talking to God in prayer. So they're going to tend to draw towards that. And watch, this is the direction that's going to go. Oh, well, the meditation is relaxing. That's why I got my Hawaii shirt on today. I'm relaxing. I wanted to have a little relaxing time. And see, that's what prayer does for you. It really does relax you. But man, stay away from those prayer beads. You know, even the rosary, which is praying to Mary, not God. That is actually from the Hindu religions. That came over from Hindu and pagan traditions into the church. And I was raised Catholic, so let me tell you, I know about this. And but yeah, prayer beads, meditation, repetition, that type of thing is very dangerous. And talk to God. Get on your knees and pray, and talk to God. Come, let us reason together. Do not pray in vain repetition. There are so many scriptures that talk about this. But I just wanted to show you that because that's what a lot of people do. And here's the other thing I wanted to share with you. This is what I wanted to share with you. Most people only pray when they need something. They only pray in those critical situations. Oh, I've got to go into a surgery. Let's start praying. And while that's a good thing for them to be praying, sometimes it's too little too late. And if they would do some studies, they would find out that, they do, I've shown you some of them, but it's the people that have consistent prayer in their life over time that are the most successful when it comes to overcoming surgeries, and the people that actually pray consistently in their life, a lot of times they never end up in that situation where they're going to need a surgery. And especially when it comes to the health message, I'm talking about the health message here. When you consistently pray, when you are consistent in your prayers, talking to God, saying, Lord, how can I get healthy? What can I do to be healthy? Teach me, and God will teach you. And you got to listen and be obedient. Trust and obey. Listen to God. And I'm telling you, there's a big difference between listening to God with your ears and listening to God with your actions. Look up the word listen in the dictionary. One of the definitions of the word listen in the dictionary is actually obedience. That's right. A lot of people listen with their ears to God, but they're not listening with their actions. And when God is saying, hey, these things will help you be healthy, do those things. Listen to God, take action by doing and being obedient. And God's just telling us this because He loves us. He wants us to be healthier. He's giving us a health message that shows us how to be healthier, more vibrant, live the most abundant life that He has in store for us while we're still here before we go to our ultimate home in heaven. So that's what we're looking at. And let's go to, and that's it for today. Really, it's about prayer. Take those steps, get the charts, look at the charts, and start charting out, and you'll see the trends that will really help you. So anyway, Mark Anthony, let's, I think we got one more segment here, and then we'll follow things up. Hey, just wanted to share with you my newest cookbook. This is the kind of book that will really be a blessing to your library at home. And I took a lot of care making this cookbook. In fact, I do autograph them. I always try to do that. One thing I did with the quality of this book was make it a hardcover. It's over 400 pages, over 250 recipes, plus I put a stitched binding on it so it will stay open on the kitchen table. This is one thing you want to look for, is those good stitched bindings that will stay open and they're not going to mess up over time. And this book is filled with so many great recipes and concepts, because it'll actually give you the concept how to make hummus, and then here's recipe, 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 the concept how to make bruschetta, and then recipe, 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 recipe. So it's one of those things that just makes it so much easier to learn how to function in the kitchen. And that's really what I want to do, is I want to teach people the basics. I want to teach people how to do things easier in the kitchen, to make your life easier. And more importantly than that, I want to get you healthy. And in this book, there's actually some areas in the front here, let me share this with you, that have 12 different concepts on things that you need to do to get healthy. And one of them is go vegan, of course. Here's one about reducing oil and a whole bunch of information about that. And biggest meal for breakfast, I talk about that. Plenty of water, which is what I'm doing right now, trying to get plenty of water. Rest, so there's some really good concepts in the front. Plus I also share some of my station simplicity, how to design your oatmeal station, how to design your refrigerator into a salad bar. So this is a real powerful education tool to teach you how to function in the kitchen so much better. And these run $50 and shipping's included. We're not even charging for shipping or anything. And it is such a fantastic book. It's available on my website, or you can just call the number on the screen. And we should usually ship out within a day or two. So it's just one of those books that helps support our ministry. And of course, you can always call the number on the screen, even if you just want to contribute to our ministry, because let me tell you, this is one of those ministries, we don't have a bunch of sponsors. You're not watching 35 commercials in order to get one recipe. And we sustain ourselves basically on your contributions and a couple of the books that I have available. I have another one too here, Vegan Simplicity. We've got a part 2 to this one coming out real soon. And this one too has not as many pictures, but it's packed with recipes. This one's just packed with recipes, and that one's half the price. So just wanted to share those with you. Both fantastic books. My website, chefmarkanthony.com, or call the number on the screen, and we will get those right out to you. So enjoy the rest of the program, and we'll see you later on. All right, that's our show for today, and let me tell you, it is so critically important that you have your prayer time. I talk about it time and time and time again, but it is that important. You know, the first step of my 12-part series is to get your prayer time in order. You know, I don't care, don't worry about what you eat, don't worry about exercise, don't worry about anything. Spend 1 week in consistent prayer, 15 minutes every single morning. Get that prayer time consistent and keep it consistent for the rest of your life. You know, I talk about these charts this is a 12-week chart. When you're done, we're gonna do it again. Okay, this is a lifestyle change. I'm not into these 7 days to change your life, 21 days to change your life, these, kind of things. This is 12 weeks, but that's just the start. This is just a start to get consistency. You're not going to get consistency in 7 days. 3 days to change your life. Take this pill, your life will be changed. We look at the practical, intelligent side of getting healthy. Physically, mentally, spiritually. That's what I do at the whole message. Doing the homework so you don't have to, and let you do the follow-up with the action, doing the things that God wants you to do. And it all starts with your prayer time. So you be blessed, and we will see you next time in the kitchen.